All right, y'all. 10 minutes after the hour, y'all. Today we are honored to be joined by somebody who has a career spanning almost 3 decades in public service, and she served as our National Security Advisor, United States Ambassador to the United Nations, and Director of Domestic Policy Council. Please welcome Ambassador Susan Rice, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Rice, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to have you this morning, and thank you so much for getting up this early to talk with us. And, and I just want to start out with a background. I haven't worked for 3 presidential administrations, and I just want to know, in your opinion, what do voters in this election need to consider when looking at 2 vastly different political platforms being presented?
Well, look, you're absolutely right. The choice couldn't be more stark, and the difference couldn't be greater. On the one hand, you have Donald Trump, who's been very clear that his agenda is to come in with an enemies list and to go use the power of the Justice Department and the military against his enemies in revenge and retribution. He's about himself and about doing his own business. On the other hand, you have Kamala Harris, who will come into the Oval Office with a to-do list that's focused on us, the people, and dealing with the problems we have, lowering costs, the price of food and groceries through a ban on price gouging, making housing more affordable by providing a down payment assistance and building 3 million new affordable homes. Healthcare costs, making the cost of insulin, which has now been capped at $35 a month for seniors, the same price for everybody, whether you're a young person or a senior. Bringing down the cost of prescription drugs and applying that not only to seniors but to all of us, and giving regular working people, 100 million Americans, a middle-class tax break, where Trump wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthiest corporations and to the Elon Musks of the world, and impose on the rest of us a $4,000 per year additional, in effect, tax through his crazy tariff plan, putting a 20% tariff on every good coming into this country, with your food, your toys, your electronics, from every country on every good. So that's just that will just be passed on to all of us who are consumers. So the economic choice couldn't be more stark. And then you got to step back and think, this is somebody in Donald Trump who does not respect us, does not respect black people, does not respect Latino people, doesn't respect women, doesn't respect anybody except a narrow slice of people like himself. And that's why he's happy to take away our freedoms, freedoms to choose about ourselves and everything. Go ahead, man.
Dr. Rice, I have to ask you, because you had a background in national security, and you've been around for a long time. I actually personally thought you was going to end up being Secretary of State for the Obama administration. I started seeing you on, interviews or whatever. But I just, being that, do you think that, the foreign leaders, all of the dictators that he's friends with, do you think that he would put the United States in danger? He's friends with the Prime Minister of North Korea and just all of these dictators. How does that come into play, and how you think that would affect the United States? Because I'm really concerned about that.
Well, it's a really good question. Look, yes, I'm very concerned about that, and let me explain. We're obviously, there's a lot going on in the world. One of the biggest things that's happening in the world that, I'm not sure your listeners are focused on is that we are now seeing Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran all starting to work very closely together and supporting each other. A good example is that there are now North Korean troops, 10,000 North Korean troops inside of Russia getting ready to go fight in Ukraine. So in a world where our adversaries are collaborating, we need a leadership in Washington who understands that who our friends are. Our friends are our allies in NATO and Canada and Asia, and who our enemies are. Not, our enemies are not, the enemy within, as he likes to call the American people who oppose him or differ with him. The enemies are Vladimir Putin and the North Korean dictator and Xi Jinping. And what Trump likes to do is, admire them because they're dictators, write love letters to them, and say to Putin, do what the hell you want with NATO. So he wants to be on their team and take the United States there rather than stand with our allies who have stood with us and helped protect us from 9/11 to the present.
I do have a question about the integrity of the election process. We're seeing a lot of voter intimidation. We're seeing reports of businesses being boarded up in D.C. for possible unrest. In what ways is the Harris campaign being proactive to safeguard the integrity of the election?
Well, that's a great question. Look, we got in Donald Trump somebody who wants to make people think our elections are fraudulent and don't work. That's not true. The vote will be protected. The votes will be counted. And the Harris campaign has put in place an army of lawyers who have spanned out all over the battleground states already. And they're ready for what's coming. The bad news is we have in Donald Trump somebody who doesn't respect democracy. The good news is we've been to this movie before, and we saw the playbook he's going to run. And, there may be some variations, but the Harris campaign is ready. They're going to win the election with the help of all of us, and then they're going to protect the vote. And I just want to, remind people, what's at stake here. First of all, everybody needs to get out and vote. This is a very critical election. When you have somebody, we were talking about national security just before the break. When you have somebody in Donald Trump, whose very own vice president, Mike Pence, two of his defense secretaries, two of his national security advisors, his chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, his secretary of state, and his White House chief of staff, John Kelly, who was a four-star Marine general, all say that Trump is unfit. He's dangerous. He's out for himself. He's fascist, and he should not be president of the United States again. They don't trust him to be commander-in-chief. That should tell us all everything we need to know. So then we now also have a Supreme Court that says the president of the United States, this is a ruling from the summer, is immune from prosecution for acts he commits in the White House. Donald Trump coming back with no guardrails, a hit list for revenge and retribution, vowing to use the military against his opponents, and immunity from prosecution is about as dangerous as it gets. So, we have a stark choice. If we vote, our votes will be counted. This is the way we protect ourselves. And we protect our families, and we protect our future. So really, everybody needs to get out and vote. Let's not let this be too close. And then the integrity of the election will be defended and protected by an army of lawyers.
Wow. Dr. Rice, thank you so much. We appreciate all of your hard work and everything that you have done for our country. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us this morning. And if anything you need, please let us know. Y'all give it up and show your love right now for Ambassador Susan Rice, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.